Hey guys, we're here with Kuma. We're going to talk about the GIOS, what happened there. I think a lot of people have a lot of question what is going on there. Also, we're going to speak about the season for the alliances and in general how the path of GIOS was built. So, Kuma, can you tell me how the GIOS was created?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, GIOS was a fresh merge this season. It was a combination of Owl, Garuda, Inwa, and Server One. The purpose was just to try to rival AC for the season, and then potential prospects of sticking together after the season if everything went well.
How you come with this idea? I mean, this is like four alliances. This is, yeah, a lot of leadership, a lot of, let's say, leaders
So,
there.
yeah, last season, I know that Garuda and Inwa merged together, and we're coming into this season together. And then, as we were, doing our Diplo talks at the beginning of the season, they were talking to us, and looking at all the other alliances on the board, we kind of figured that we needed someone to kind of rival the power of AC. And so we thought, hey, let's, Owl at the time was only 60, 70 people. So let's just put them all together and see what we can do.
So four alliances, nice, nice. How your previous season go? I'm a little curious.
Yeah, Owl's previous season was a bit of a mess. We entered the season as an 11 billion power alliance, pretty big. And early on, we experienced some leadership changes, which led to a group within the Owl Alliance to kind of seize the leadership and run it with a different style than we were used to, more totalitarian kind of style. And that kind of led to a lot of members feeling hurt and not heard, and a lot of heavy expectations. So it created some activity issues. And at the time we were fighting Roe and Arkham, and they're known as NASA now. And so it was a lot of good fights, a lot of T5, but because of that leadership change and activity, we fell short.
Do you think there was some issue with the activity this season when basically like four alliances merged together?
Oh yeah, definitely ran into activity issues with that as well. Something that I learned was, if you have a very active alliance and another active alliance, and you want to put them together, it's important to note that NA time zones, EU time zones, and Asia time zones. You put them all together, and then you don't really get that super high number of 100, people when you need them. It's kind of like a 60 average activity across the board, which is good, but like I said, you don't get that super high number when you need it.
Yeah, when you make pushes.
Right, right.
How you decide to land up in the zone you go?
So zone one or zone two?
Crow zone, if I pronounce it right. The first zone.
Yeah, Grausen. Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, we kind of formed Geos to rival AC, and Owl specifically. We'd always built from the right side of the map. And so this season we were determined to change it up and build from the left side. And AC had already decided their zone. And so we thought, all right, well, let's put ourselves right next to them and give them, a good fight all the way to last zone.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I something I notice across the divisions is the two big boys are always close to themselves. I mean, in each division. So gate one open. How do things go there against AC? The fights.
Yeah, zone two, the first 2 to 3 days went very well for us. We had good activity, and our leadership team was very successful in our tactics and pushing AC. We'd even pushed past the rock in zone two, and we're trying to bottleneck AC at one of their earlier chokes. However, after the I don't know 50-ish hours, when the week started, the work week, our activity kind of shot down, and it became clear that AC's ability to sustain that marathon of war was a little bit better than ours. and so they stayed more consistent, which allowed them to push us back.
So Kuma, your first fight in the ruins. I saw. I think Gios was having advantage there. I think they get the ruins. Am I correct? Or
Yeah, in our first runic fight, or the first few runic fights, we were still Geos and Owl at the time. We were still separate, and because of the time zone thing I mentioned earlier, it worked out in our favor actually. And so the first few runic fights, we were able to coordinate effectively with Geos and communicate well, and actually win like two or three of those.
okay, so we already speak about the zone 2. Do you want to add something there? Some specific event that may occur there, or you push it and at some point the marathon was won by the AC?
Something that worked well in our favor was holding rallies, and then holding rallies with anchors. Our guys were really good at coordinating, anchors with rallies, and then shoving them into AC. And at first, that caught them, way off guard. It allowed us to gain a lot of pressure and a lot of territory.
Yeah, those rallies. I think, by the way, with the new settings in the game, that you can take out the possibility your legion to hit a rally. It's a great future.
Oh, for sure. It definitely made a huge difference.
Okay, let's talk about Zone 3, since I think this is maybe one of the most important plays for the guilds. How the Zone 3 progression starts? Where was the first fights there? Can you give me just a little more information? Since I'm not gonna lie, we was focused over VP, so I didn't have great overview there. How the things go in the Zone 3?
So Geos entered Zone 3 with a very defensive build structure. We had tempo priority in our building plan. So we were able to, race through like three different choke points and fortify those, and then back build towards the pass to the last zone. So it was a straight shot for AC to try to get through us in order to get us out of the zone. So we went in with a very defensive plan.
So your
One of
idea
the
was just to build more obstacles to slow down the AC and at the same time jump in the zone 4, correct?
Correct. We built a lot of defenses around the spires, spire level 3, spire level 4, and we had a lot of big fights around those spires.
Okay, since I also didn't check it out good, maybe the power, I hear different stories. Do you think the power between Gios and AC was balanced? I think for sure AC have more tier 5, but in general, what is your vision there?
I think for most of the season, it was around a couple million, or sorry, a couple billion power difference, maybe like one or two, and they had more T5s, and with our activity issues, their increase in T5s really shown through as far as our fight.
Okay, where was the breaking point for the Gios? Because at some point, just the Gios for me just maybe stop progressing, stop putting efforts. This is my personal opinion. I'm not quite sure what is going on there. What was the
So
break point?
one of the first breaking points in Zone 3 was, we had made a decision to swap some of our fortresses around to better fortify our territory towards the last pass. And AC did a very smart thing, taking advantage of that time that it took us to swap those fortresses, meaning, our last defense in Zone 3 around level 4 Spire, we didn't have behemoths connected at that time. So the AC was smart and took advantage of that. And, we still fought for, 8 to 12-ish hours and fought as best we could. But without those behemoths, our fighting ability was kind of weakened. So that was one of the first breaking points, and then afterwards, it's just a matter of the lack of activity and motivation. When it's the same 60 people fighting, 60 average. When it's the same people fighting over and over again, our resources get low. Energy levels get low, motivation gets low, and kind of lose that spirit a little bit.
It's normal because you fight with AC in the zone one. I think this is something what I spoke with also with Jack. You fight with them in the ruins. You fight with them with the zone two. You also going to fight against same enemy in the zone three. So yeah, we're just curious where was the breaking point, and since yeah, after the Spire 4 go down, this is basically the last ticket, if I can say it like this, for GIOS going the zone
Yeah.
4. So
Yeah.
what happened after this? How the how the things go? How GIOS just at some point just decide to stop go?
Well, after we lost the zone, there were a lot of talks about, how do we stick it to AC, potentially not giving them the fight that they want. And at this time, we were trying to coordinate with LM about, how to tackle AC. And after some time of healing and a lot of talks, we decided on a defensive game plan to kind of bore AC into overextending themselves in one direction or another. But then, through listening to our members, they really wanted to fight still. And so we kind of, flipped our plan to be more offensive. And we tried coordinating with LM to fight, LM, LB, and KPT. We tried to coordinate with them to fight on two different fronts. And that worked for a little bit. But, on one side of the map, you have an 8.6 billion alliance, LM, and other weaker alliances. And then on our side, you have a 10 billion power alliance, GIOS. But because of the motivation and the activity issues on both sides, it just wasn't quite enough to beat back AC. We were really close. We were able to take some territory back in Zone 3, but just because war is a marathon, we just didn't have quite enough to sustain that fight.
Okay, I see a lot of talks about these leadership talks, and most of the people, even the enemy, think that there was just maybe some lack of coordination between the guilds and LM. And yeah, I think also I said in one of my videos that I think that was a mistake. We over focused VP. VP was just there for destruction, for
Yep.
distraction, but yeah, our main
Yep.
focus should be in the zone for where was the AC and DC. But I think our breaking point maybe was when the Spire 4 from our side was taken. Like this AC don't need to fight for any Spire. They basically can go down under. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
yeah.
from my perspective, it kind of looked like LM was running into similar issues that Geos had been encountering throughout most of the season. And especially with LM being 8.6 billion power instead of Geos's 10 billion power, LM had even less T5s than Geos, and so from my perspective, their ability to fight was even less than ours, on top of motivation and activity. It required a very coordinated efforts to weaken AC. And like I said, we were really close. Talking with AC afterwards, they told us that they were resource healing and kind of scrambling for half a day there to hold us off, but then they took it.
Yeah, because maybe I'm not gonna lie, I get this impression at some point that I was thinking, since maybe because I didn't pay attention to the left side, like most likely AC and Gios didn't pay that much attention to our side. I was thinking, yo, just Gios, just give it up. But at some point, yeah, uh, I think maybe I was in mistake thinking about this since yeah, Gios put a lot of work after at some point everything stopped. By the way, I want to ask you about this. At some point in GIOS, I think everything stopped, and there was no maybe action, or maybe I didn't catch some action since I'm in the different time zone maybe. But I think at some point Gius maybe just give it up. What do you think? Also, some people change alliances. There was some dramas there. Do you want to talk about this, or you want to skip?
Yeah. After we'd taken AC tower, and we rallied a few of them, and then realized that we couldn't maintain that marathon. Again, it was the same people fighting over and over again. We kind of burnt out, and then pulled out of the zone because of idle mines and other things like that. It led to some internal drama. Like I said earlier, the GIOS merge was intended to be only for this season, and with a potential plan to stick together, and it just ended up not working out that way. Mixing certain people together and certain time zones just didn't work out for GIOS.
Yeah, I totally understand you on this. Definitely when the whole alliances is on one team's in same time zone, you can make have just couple people through the day, but at some point you're going to have, like in our case, we're mostly from Europe, and we have like 120 130 people online, and we basically swarm the VP. uh okay, so
I
the yeah.
I think that mixing time zones and groupings of like NA EU and then another alliance with EU Asia times. I think splits like that work out pretty well. But mixing all three, that didn't really work out for Geos.
Yeah, I understand that. So I want to ask you if you can bring something back. Do you want to change something? Is there something that can be done in general? Maybe turn the things in other direction.
Definitely in zone three, being more patient with when we swapped our fortresses, because that was huge for our ability to fight. And AC taking that opportunity to take advantage of it was brilliant on their part. So if I could take anything back, it would be swapping the fortresses, and then overall, knowing what I know now, I probably would have not had Owl join the Geos merge. Geos performed very well with their time zones and activity before we got together, and so with hindsight, I probably would have left Owl separate as the sister alliance, and fought alongside Geos.
What is your general opinion over the AC? What do you think about the leadership decisions, territory, towers, whatever? What's your opinion for this? Lance?
AC AC is very consistent, good activity. They adapt really well. We experienced that, in zone two. After they were caught off by our fights and our ability to push with rallies. By AC's like third rotation of their uptime, we noticed a difference in their fighting style, and then we started getting pushed back. So they adapt really well, and of course, they have the T5 advantage, which helped them a lot. I think AC's biggest downside is their downtime. When they all go to sleep, the alliance is pretty dead. And so for the first couple zones, we took advantage of that, but then we started noticing their downtime activity slowly being a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And so again, they were adapting. They knew their weak side, and we're working really hard to bolster their downtime so that they wouldn't be punished so severely.
Nice. Your personal opinion about LM when they maybe jump in the zone for the just reflux that they built there. In general, your opinion on the right side when the zone when the gate 5 open, how the things
Yeah.
go there.
Well, leading up to the last zone, we had noticed, LM, pushing back VP and fighting really well, and we kind of expected them to maintain a little bit more of a fight. But we were also at that time we were also on the fence about whether we wanted to bore out AC. So as you know, the communication thing, whether being defensive and denying denying AC the fight was still up in the air until we listened to our members and decided to flip on that and be on the offensive.
Okay.
So as far as LM, LM was operating on a defensive plan when Geo suddenly swapped to an offensive plan. And so when that happened, there was a little bit of a miscommunication, and we were kind of scrambling to figure out coordinated times, and that's why that fight didn't go as well as it could have for us.
Okay, yeah. Definitely. Most of the people in LM maybe have this, think that they're going to fight against lands with so many tier fives, and yeah, you know how the exchanges between tier four and tier five go.
Yep, yep, it's rough.
Um, my last question maybe is, what is your future plans, man? Since right now I see it, I see GIOS, maybe some people build their own alliance and all these things that, yeah, whatever. What is your personal future plans?
Yeah, so Owls split back up into their own alliance. We had plans of staying in Geos and getting Magma and splitting up those rewards. And because of the internal drama and people clashing, the break apart happened sooner than we had planned. So as far as I know, they're still going to work together for Magma and for those rewards, but moving forward, Owl is separate again, and they'll be choosing a more active home kingdom for next season.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kuma, that you come and give me some time from your to come here and make this great interview. I always respect all the leaders. It didn't matter the condition. Are they winning? Are they are losing? Normally, in this type of games, one side is winning, the other one is losing. But that don't mean both sides don't put a lot of work. All the players there
Of course.
also. So yeah, I really want to thank you, man. Thank you for come.
Yeah, thank you, Burgess. I appreciate the opportunity. My final thoughts are, everyone did great this season. There's lots of lessons to be learned, and it's important to look back and think about those things when moving forward. Learn from your mistakes, and yeah, this is a fun season.
Yeah, definitely was a fun one.